Hi everybody, I'm Graham Bowbrick and I'm going to take a few minutes here to introduce myself. Now this is a pretty random way to begin an introduction, but my favorite extracurricular activity is running. This is a photo of me running at the age of 15, and this is a photo of me doing the same thing nearly 4 decades later. Can you see the difference? If you have a discerning eye, you'll notice that I have no hair now. Now, one could ask the question, how does one go bald like that? Well, let's see. Let's try using our power of reasoning. I used to have hair, then I became a runner, and now I have no hair. Therefore, running causes hair loss. Or, I used to have hair, then I became a lawyer and started practicing law, and now I have no hair. Therefore, the practice of law causes hair loss. Of course, that's just nonsense reasoning. It's like people who say vaccines cause autism, or people who say that after one cold day in the winter, climate change isn't happening. Baldness is genetic. Have no fear. You will not lose your hair by becoming notaries. Okay, let's go back closer to the beginning. I was very serious from a young age. Some would even say a little bit intense. When I turned 5, I asked for a suit and tie for my birthday, and I got it. And I even wore it to kindergarten that day. I think that kind of seriousness is why I took up running as a sport at a young age. I was always pushing myself. So serious. Just look at that seriousness of purpose on that guy's face. Now this is my high school graduation photo. Look at the hair. And even the mustache. You should be able to tell what year it is by the hair. A couple of hints. In the month I graduated from high school, the number 1 song was by David Bowie. And another number 1 song was Flashdance, What a Feeling. I even saw that movie in the theater. And then I was off to SFU, where a few years later I completed my Bachelor of Arts. And after that, I was off to law school at the University of Victoria. And not long after becoming a young lawyer doing legal aid work in New Westminster, my career took another turn. I ran as a candidate in the 1996 provincial election, and we won. And I ended up here. For a few years, I sat here as a member of the Legislative Assembly. You see, right over here in the back row. They call that a backbencher, and that's not a compliment. And later, I became the Minister of Advanced Education and got to move into this office, right up here on the 3rd floor, with a better office than a backbencher. And after that, I became the Attorney General. I moved into this office, right here, at the front of the legislative building. It even had nice red carpets in it. When my mother came and visited that office for the first time, the thing she commented upon was the red carpets. And what did she say? She said it reminded her of the inside of a house of prostitution. How she would know that, I don't know. But then, this happened. It was actually much worse than a car crash. It was a train wreck. We went from being a majority government to having only 2 seats in the legislature. This headline? We lost 1 more seat in a recount, bringing us down to 2 seats. Yep, it all came crashing down, and I was out of a job that I loved. So now what? Well, I really had no choice. I had to get myself back up, dust myself off, and figure out what to do next. I could always fall back on my legal training, so I figured, why not start my own community law practice? The problem was, I hadn't practiced law for the 5 years I was in politics, so I needed to requalify because of what these people said. You see, the Law Society said that I would have to write my bar exams again. Their rule was that a person had to write their exams again if they were not engaged in, quote, the practice of law for more than 3 years. And apparently, while I was busy making laws for 5 years, that wasn't the same as the practice of law. So I had to study for and write those bar exams all over again. But I did it. And then I hung out my own shingle, as they say, and I started a sole practice in New Westminster. And then, the same month I started that practice, Douglas College called and asked if I might teach a course for them, which I did, and I loved it. And then, a future director of the Applied Legal Studies program at SFU called and asked if I might teach a course in this program. And so I did. I returned to SFU again, this time to teach. And I ended up loving that too. A little after that, I went back to school again, to UBC, and I completed my master's degree in law. So here I am now. And what office do I have now? This is it. This is where the magic happens. Where that voice from the ether will originate every time we meet online. And there you have it. The moral of the story, if there is one here, you never know where life will take you or when. So often our careers don't go in a straight line. We have our ups and downs. I know many of you are changing careers now. And as you can see from my own career path, I know what that is like. And many of you are going back to school, this time with family and work obligations at the same time. And I also know what that is like. And I even know the challenges of starting a legal practice from scratch, like so many of you will do when you finish this program. So, welcome, and I'll do everything I can to help you prepare for your new career.